Hey everybody, this is Heidi Hill, licensed mental health counselor. In the state of Arizona, I own White Stag Wellness, and I serve as a clinician in my practice. I wanted to get the ball rolling for us on a series of mindfulness videos. So what is mindfulness? How do I use mindfulness? And then actual mindfulness practices that you can use on your own. And then obviously we can go into more depth if you take my classes or if you're working with me one-on-one. But I wanted to offer something just to get you started and familiar with the practice, because in my experience and my witness, it is absolutely life-changing. Okay? So for the purpose of this video, I am going to introduce what mindfulness is, and then just a first step, okay? So mindfulness, as I teach it, is from a DBT therapy perspective. DBT therapy is dialectical behavioral therapy. And that's a whole other series of videos right there. But the reason why I teach from this theoretical perspective is because it's very universal, very scientific, very easy to understand, applies to everybody. And it further underscores the non-judgmental efforts that we're trying to do with ourselves in our self-care and mindfulness specifically. So mindfulness is about being fully and authentically in the present moment. Okay? And a big piece of how we want to be in the present moment is non-judgmentally. So being fully present means that I am accepting everything that's going on outside of me and inside of me. I'm not stuck or fixated on one thing that's going on, or in my emotions, in my feelings with what's going on in there, right? Being just in my anger or just in my fear. I may be very aware that those feelings are there. I am very aware of what's happening in this moment, right? Like, I can't deny reality, right? In events or within my feelings. But the art of mindfulness is just being aware of everything and finding space and balance to fully experience. One of the ways that we do this is by practicing what's called a witness state. I'm becoming a witness to my feelings. I'm becoming a witness to my thoughts. I'm becoming a witness to my environment and what's going on. And what this does for us is it gets us out of emotion mind. So it reduces the intensity of pain and suffering that we're feeling in this moment, because it pulls us out of it just enough to be more objective. Okay, so we're going to practice non-judgmentalness by just being curious. How do I feel in this moment? Now, don't get me wrong, okay? I'm perfectly well aware that a natural response to something would be like, I don't want to be calm right now and just think about how I feel. I am totally pissed right now. I'm upset. XYZ, right? This person did this to me. Okay, right. So we're human. So I'm not saying that we're going to just be Spock right now. But the point is in any feeling or any situation, to recognize and label is super, super helpful. So I'm feeling a lot of anger. I can feel the anger in my body. My stomach is tight. I have muscle tension. I'm actually starting to get a headache. My skin feels hot. All of these types of awareness and symptoms and body cues are really important in helping us regulate ourselves, right? So that we don't just like go off into the deep end. So this witness state is just being curious with what's going on. This can be really helpful in a conflict situation rather than reacting to something, right? Out of emotion. We are going to pause and be curious about it. Ask questions. Notice what feelings come up. Notice what assumptions and judgments. Those are huge paramount, guys. Like, usually we get a few pieces of a story and our brain just naturally fills in the gaps, and then we call that the actual story, right? And we're reacting to stuff that's probably mostly not true, right? And we're causing a lot of suffering. Now, to be fair, yeah, sometimes stuff actually is happening, right? Something happening to us, something that's not okay. Sometimes we're in crisis. That stuff is real. Sometimes it happens. Most of the time, in the present moment, it's not. And so this is a tool for us to distinguish between the two. Am I in crisis? Yes or no, right? And then we proceed from there. But using this witness state when you're in a crisis or a conflict or just an emotion state within yourself can be really helpful to getting your bearings and proceeding in a way that actually is more effective, and at the very least does less harm or doesn't make things worse. Sometimes that's the goal of a situation. Like, think of any argument that you've had recently, right? Like, sometimes it's good just not to make it worse. So not reacting out of our emotions, not reacting out of assumptions and judgments, hugely important. So this witness state helps us practice observing non-judgmentally, just with curiosity, making sure that we've got all the facts so that we're putting this picture together with actual facts. Then we can respond to something in a wise way where we've considered all of the sides and we're not just reacting out of assumptions, judgments, feelings, and things like that. So this is a nutshell around what this Teflon pan and observer, curious state is, this witness state of being curious in the moment and observing. And some of the things that we're going to do together in the mindfulness videos are practicing this witness state, because it sounds very simple, not necessarily easy. The more you practice, the more natural it gets, the more you can recognize when you're not in a witness state, when you're in an emotional state, and you can do certain behaviors to get yourself there, which feels very grounding, gives you a sense of control in the moment, which always feels good, right? Rather than reacting and feeling out of control. So let me know your thoughts around that, any questions, and how you'd like me to go off from there. I am going to talk about mindfulness and what that means, and then break that down into actual steps, as well as videos on practicing it with you. But I think the witness state is just a really fundamental concept to start thinking about. How many times are we actually observing and using our senses and being logical as well as emotional to truly pull in all of the information? So let me know your thoughts, and I will talk to you later.